What's up, good people? I hope you're doing extremely well. And if not, I hope that we can change that in the coming moments. You're now listening to the Free Spirit channel where we talk about health and money to help us have the best life possible. And today I want to talk about success. And if you want to be successful, if you really want to be successful, I want you to listen to this. And this is coming from someone who has been successful at many things and has failed at many things. And I want to preface everything by saying that first, because I think it's very important that you understand the first thing you have to do to be successful is you have to start and try. You have to be willing to fail. And a lot of times people, will tell you, no, you got to win. And it's so far from the truth that it's funny. Sometimes people will have that understanding of winning because they are only winning in an area that is set up for them to win. Like, for instance, if you are someone who has since a very young age played basketball and that's been your thing, you've always played basketball, your parents gave you a basketball goal when you were 14 years old, you played basketball in your neighborhood, and that's what you really were passionate about, and you go off to college and you play basketball, and eventually you may play pro. And in your games, you may win games and you may lose games, but your overall understanding of what you are in that arena is a winner. Now, that same person, and I'm going to say this from experience, can be totally in disarray in their finances, can have one of the most horrendous losing streaks in terms of money on the face of the earth. And it happens. It happens to pro athletes. It happens to entertainers and the like. And what I'm trying to get at is that just because you are winning constantly at something that you have done meticulously for a long period of time does not make you a winner and successful at everything. And what I want you to understand about success is that it is something that is nurtured, and it's nurtured through persistence and action and the gradual achievements that you may achieve along the way as you persist in that thing. So taking the example of the basketball player, he may have started out as someone who wasn't that good. You may start out as a young kid who, is really discouraged by the thing that you're doing. But someone could have been a parent, could have been, another kid, could have been anyone, a brother, a sibling, said, hey, let's continue to do this. Let's have fun at this. And once that fun becomes a part of you, and once that thing becomes a part of your understanding of peace and fun and happiness, you continue to do it, even if you're bad at it. And the more you do something in that way, you start to develop the skill sets and the understanding of it that transcend your failures in it. So you can be failing at the same time you're also learning. I always say this to my kids, losing is learning. If you are learning from your loss, you're never failing. If you go after anything and you're not afraid to lose, you're going to learn something every time you play. You're going to get better at it because you're advancing your skill sets by doing it repetitious times. And which leads me to my next point of repetition. If you want to succeed at anything, you have to establish a track record of repetition in what you want to succeed in. If you want to be a good accountant, if you want to be a good school teacher, if you want to be anyone, a musician, anything that you want to do, your track record of repetition has to be strong and consistent. You can start anywhere. I don't care how old you are. I don't care where you're from. The more time you have, the better, obviously. So that's why if you want to be, the world's best guitar player by the time you're 30, starting at 5 is a good idea. If you start playing guitar at 5 and you never stop, by the time you get 30, you're going to be the best. It's just the way it works. Prime example, someone like, the late great artist, formerly known as Prince, started playing the guitar when he was 7 years old, or maybe earlier. And, it's that type of dedication to your craft you have to have. And I want to say this again, you don't have to start that early at something. You just have to be consistent. And you can make up for lost time. You know, if you know it takes time to develop skill sets for something, and you feel like, oh, well, I may be 36 or I may be 40 and I want to be good at, singing. Well, you know you have your work cut out for you. You know you have to start having consistency in the repetition of that skill. Yes, it's going to take time. Yes, you're going to get better over time, and eventually you're going to be where you want to be if you persist in it. It's up to you. Now, are you going to be better than someone who had more time spending doing that? Maybe, maybe not, depending on your physical connection, your mental connection, and your spiritual connection to that thing. You can be. It's all up to you and what your drive is. And that's the thing I want you to understand, is that you can't judge your progress by what someone else has done or is doing, because everyone's, plight is different. That's just like someone saying, okay, I'm 6'9" and I want to play basketball. I haven't played that much in my life, but I want to play, rebound, and I'm going up against someone who's, 5'3". He's been playing for 20 years. Yes, his skill sets are going to be more apt than yours, but you have a height advantage, and you have to use that as your advantage and understand how that works in that arena. That's very important, and that's one of the most important assets that anyone can understand. Is you have to understand how your physicality, your mentality, and what you are at the core, how it fits into the arena that you're trying to succeed in. It's very simple. It's a very simple thing that people often overlook, because it's very surface. It can be very surface oriented, and people may be discouraged in that, hey, I might not fit this particular thing in those areas the way I want to. But if you really are honest about that, about yourself, it goes a long way to helping you find the things you can be successful at easily. And that is something that I think a lot of people want to get to, and they don't, because they don't think about it that way. It's as simple as, someone who wants to be a hand model and they have beautiful hands, by the standards, by whatever standards they can determine that, hey, my hands are beautiful and I want to be a hand model. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. You have to understand how you fit into those standards of yourself. I know this can be a very discouraging thing for people sometimes, but it is the truth. You need to understand how you fit into the standards that people perceive, even if you don't buy into them. And you don't have to buy into them, but you need to understand what people are seeing. This is a tactic in selling, anything. And it works a lot in sales. That's why you get a lot of people who go into sales. They're attractive people, by the standards of, what attractiveness is in whatever region or society or whatever. You'll find a lot of people who go into those fields that warrant attraction, because it's easier for people who have those traits to succeed in those things. You're going to be excluded from anything if you feel like, oh, I don't have this particular trait. But you need to understand what people's perceptions are, so that you can work the traits that you do have. You can push the strengths that you do have. Understanding your strengths, very, very important in anything. Even if it's something that doesn't require you to look a certain way or, sound a certain way, understanding what your strengths are. Your strengths can be as simple as, hey, I'm a problem solver. And what can I succeed at as a problem solver? There are so many things that you can succeed at as a problem solver. So again, being able to define that about yourself, very, very important in success. And there's so many things like that, but at the core, I want you to understand that success is very relative to who you are and what you want to do. It's all about that, all about what you want to do ultimately and who you are. So if you're thinking And this is the easiest thing. I think if you're thinking, I want to be successful at something, if you're in a space right now where you don't care about what you're successful at, you just want to be successful at something, then you are by far in the best place in life than many, many people. Because all you need to do, if you're in that space, and I'm going to tell you right now, all you need to do is find out your standard, the standard that you fit into, the core of you, what you look like, what you sound like, what you feel like, what you are interested in. Find out where you fall on the standard of what you're going to be successful at. For example, if you're good with numbers, you probably could be an accountant. If you have a great voice, you probably could do a podcast. If you have a great look, probably could go into sales or fashion or anything that involves putting your look on the forefront. That's what I'm talking about. You have to determine that for yourself. Put some eggs in those baskets and see how easy it will be for you to reach success. I hope this has been extremely helpful for someone. And until we talk again, I wish you health, wealth, and freedom.